Hi folks, TS here. This week I figured I'd do something a little bit different and I'll show you the 13 books that I'm currently reading, and then I'll show you my physical TBR, which is pretty much just a shelf tour, I guess. The first book that I'm reading of the 13 is How to Bite Your Neighbour and Win a Wager by D.N. Bryn. I'm reading that on my Kindle, so there's nothing really to show for that one. The next one is The Magicians by Lev Grossman. Jasper Ford, The Fourth Bear. Scrying for Beginners by Donald Tyson. That'll make sense when I get to like the witchy shelf. Stephen Baxter's The Massacre of Mankind, which is the only sequel to War of the Worlds that's been authorised by the H.G. Wells estate, I believe. Also just started Ryan Douglas's The Taking of Jake Livingston. Garth Nix's The Left-Handed Booksellers of London. Luck of the Dead by Oscar de Muriel. A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I haven't seen the film yet, but I want to read the book before I watch the movie. I have Kristen Chenoweth's autobiography, A Little Bit Wicked. Amanda Palmer's The Art of Asking. Eldritch Tales by H.P. Lovecraft. This is a miscellany. Can't say that word. Eldritch Tales by H.P. Lovecraft. I'll just leave it at that. Miscellany of the Macabre. Got there in the end. And Asterix Omnibus, Volume 12. So those are the books that I'm currently reading. As you can see, some of the books have got tabs in them already, which is placement markers, which I need. Well, I don't need, but I do anyway because OCD is so much fun. No, it's not. But yeah, I have the Complete Oz collection, which I've read, Divergent box set, Roald Dahl box set, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, Sookie Stackhouse, never seen True Blood either. Chronicles of Narnia, and then in the back corner is the Barry Trotter parody series, which I don't know if I actually want to read anymore. See down here, I have some more books marked off. These ones are the Axeman's Jazz trilogy. Well, not trilogy because there's 4 of them now. Quadrilogy, I guess. Boy on the Bridge by M.G. Carey. I have a whole bunch of Karen McManus books because I have this weird thing where I tend to read one book by an author and then buy everything else they've ever written. Twilight series. Down here, these ones are Quantum Gravity by Justina Robson. Yeah, Justina Robson. The Anonymous series, or Book with No Name series. Started off as a trilogy, I believe. Now they're up to like volume 12. The Wicked series. Futuristic Violence and Fancy Suits. That's the Zoe Ash book by David Wong. And then down here we have my collection of P.G. Wodehouse. Some Resident Evil books based on the games, which is they were quite good. Monster Planet by David Wellington series as well. Over here we have Mandy Morton's number 2 Feline Detective Agency series. And down a bit we have a Dawn French collection. More hardbacks down here. Tales from the Crypt. This is like part 1 of my comic shelf. Got the Asterix books, Marvel, Zombies, H.P. Lovecraft's Day Gone for beginning readers, The Call of Cthulhu for beginning readers, Sandman collection, Dark Crystal. Obviously we've got Heartstopper, you can't not have Heartstopper. My Brother's Husband, and then Death, which is another Sandman book. Here we have my LGBTQ shelf with some pop vinyls and my fluffy demon from the Click. Here we have Memorial and Death Shelf, and then where this side's more sort of witchcrafty stuff. Up here we have autobiographies. Ones that are down are same as the ones with tabs in them. They are marked to be read, part of the TBR pile. I also have a TBR table now, which is getting kind of worrying, so I need to catch up on my reading. Just move ER so you can see the rest there. I have a thing for axolotls as well. They're cute. More hardbacks. Clive Barker's Dark Worlds. I like Clive Barker. Also love Night Vale, so I've got 3 novels there. I've also got the script books, but they're on a different shelf now. Necronomicon. The ones lying down here are some Twin Peaks books. Sorry for the knock you out the road. That's the Essex Serpent. I don't know if I'll ever get around to that one. Ryuk in front of my Death Note books. Pride, Prejudice and Zombies. Another book by Joseph Fink as well. I'll just pop you out of the road for a sec. Alice Isn't Dead. I've got some Stephen King hardbacks. And the 2 lying down here are Dune by Frank Herbert, and that one at the end is The Stand. This is where my shelves kind of get a bit chaotic. I have loads of sort of plushes and sort of things. Brian Lumley collection, Titus Crow, Grady Hendrix, and Emily Autumn. More Grady Hendrix, Autumn Crow by Cameron Chaney for Library Macabre, Managing and Other Lies by Willow Heath from Willow Reads Books, Hidden Lives by my friend Kestrel. It was a really good book as well. Suzanne Collins' Hunger Games. What's this one? Another Grady Hendrix. How to Sell a Haunted House. These ones lying down here are my Christina Henry collection. On this shelf, I've got the hardback Terry Pratchett books. They're in publication order. How we get to here, we have Good Omens, and I'm not sure what this one's actually called. Bromeliad Trilogy, Terry Pratchett. And Koji Suzuki selection, because I love The Ring. Cassandra Clare, because you have to, don't you, really? More Cassandra Clare. Paul Tremblay. Really enjoying his books at the moment as well. Jasper Ford, The Big Over Easy. And that's the first book in the Indian Lake trilogy by Stephen Graham Jones. My Heart's a Chainsaw. Down here we have some art books. House of Leaves, Ethical Slut, New England Compendium, New Hampshire Curiosities, Viral by Mike Jevons. I'm not sure why it's on that shelf. Well, I need to reorganize them anyway. Jim Henson books, more books by Mike Jevons, and then we have the Morganville Vampire series by Rachel Kane, which I have not finished reading yet, as you can see from the lying down tabbed books. Next shelf down. This is really just a random collection. Lean Machine, Paul McKenna, How Clean Is Your House. This book is Goats for Dummies, or Raising Goats for Dummies. Some books on the Gothic. Man Fuck This House, that was a good book. Practical Magic. On the Good Indian, some more Stephen Graham Jones. Ruby's Curse, Alex Kingston, Poppy's Head Bright collection, or some of my Poppy's Head Bright collection anyway. John Dies at the End series by David Wong. Attack of the Flickering Skeletons by Ashens, or Stuart Ashens, Channel Ashens. Another Poppy's Head Bright, Dogs Hanging Out Windows, Terrible Old Skeletons. Terrible old games you've probably never heard of. Don't know where I get the skeletons from. Flickering Skeletons is the first book. Down here, we have Combustion, No Place for Little Ones by Daniel W. Kelly. Some more books in the series. Infinity Sun Cycle by Adam Silvera and some Patrick Rothfuss, which I've not read yet either. Nightveil script books, Tori Amos collection, some books by the Oatmeal. This one's Ian Reid, Thinking of Ending Things. I want to read that one soon. Ready Player One, Ready Player Two, How to Survive a Horror Movie. Up here we have more Oscar de Muriel and some books by the Warrens. Next shelf up, we have some more hardbacks. Behind You One-Shot Horror Stories. This is The Arabian Nights. Dear Evan Hansen, Short Second Life of Brie Tanner. Halloween Moon by Joseph Fink again, of Nightveil fame. Life of Death by Lucy Booth. That one's a sad one, because it was published posthumously. Also, the story itself was sad as well. Gobelino the Witch's Cat, one of my favourite books. Grim Tales, Philip Pullman. My Neighbour Totoro. Fangs by Sarah Anderson. Up here we have some manga. And some more books by Daniel W. Kelly. Over here we have more books by Poppy Bright, edited by Poppy Bright. Vampire Stories, Satanic Bible, Satanic Rituals, Necronomicon Spellbook, Dark Names, Gates of the Necronomicon, Bunny Suicides, Go the Fuck to Sleep series, Cyanide and Happiness, All My Friends Are Dead, How to Tell If Your Boyfriend is the Antichrist, and if he is, should you break up with him, more Cyanide and Happiness, Dinosaur Therapy, Crap Taxidermy, more Bunny Suicides, Little Pisces book. I can see them now. Into the Drowning Deep by Myra Grant. Some Dean Kunst. 2001: Space Odyssey. Nightmare on Elm Street novelizations. Alice in Wonderland. Crime and Punishment. H.G. Wells. More sci-fi. Richard Matheson, Philip K. Dick. Great Gatsby. Arabella Weir, Does My Bum Look Big in This? I got a loan of that from one of my friends in high school, and I loved it so much I bought my own copy, which is a pretty normal thing to do. Another Clive Barker book. Down here we have Dying to Live by Kim Pathenroth. Soul Standard, which one of my friends, Axel, wrote part of, because it's 4 different novellas. Flowers for Algernon, Master and Margarita, Books of Blood, Neuromancer, some Stephen King books, more Clive Barker, more Stephen King. Can't remember what this one is. Yeah, Black House by King and Straub. So that one will be the Talisman then. Just breaking everything. Down here we have some giraffes because I love giraffes, and the rest of my Terry Pratchett collection, starting with Dark Side of the Sun and Strata. Then it goes on to the Colour Magic, so there's Discworld the rest of the way. Philip Pullman, Northern Lights. Lemony Snicket. 3D printed this. It's cool. Love my piranha plant. But it hides the Red Dwarf books and the Blackstone Chronicles by John Saul. I don't hide them on purpose, it's just where he lives. Down here, sit down. Down here we have some more comics. Might have a little bit of Clive Barker obsession going on, if you didn't guess already. Army of Darkness trilogy. Nemi by, I can't remember how to pronounce her name. Lisa, don't know, Nemi. I've got Nemi books. More Max Brick. More Cyanide and Happiness. Littlest Lovecraft. Where's My Shoggoth? Cryptid Club. Loads with Sarah Anderson and Nick Selleck. Chatwind. What's her first name? Katana Chatwin. And down here we have more hardbacks. Wonders of the Universe, Wonders of the Solar System, Planets. That's all Brian Cox stuff. I think that's all of them. So that just leaves the TBR table. First pile, Barry Trotter. As I said earlier, I don't know if I want to read that anymore. Chronicles of Narnia, Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi, Hawk Mountain by Connor Habib, Divergent. The next book in the Suki Stackhouse that I haven't read yet. Club Dread. I think it's on like book 3 or 4. Koji Suzuki, Loop, which is the next book in the Ring trilogy. Came from the Closet. 2010, Odyssey 2 by Arthur C. Clarke. Pines by Blake Crouch. Never read any Blake Crouch yet, so I'm hoping it's going to be good. You Feel It Just Below the Ribs by Jeffrey Cranor and Janina Mathewson. Jeffrey Cranor's the other creator of Night Vale. Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare. Next Shadowhunter book. Kingdom of the Wicked. I've heard bad things about Kingdom of the Wicked and Kingdom of the Cursed, but I'm going to give them a try anyway. I'll Change the World. Another Death Notebook. Who Murdered Chaucer? A Medieval Mystery by Terry Jones. And Netherworld. Discovering the Oracle of the Dead. That'll be on my witchcraft shelf once I finished it. Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle. Nature Predators, Daniel Pascap. Beloved Poison, 13 Minutes, Fat and Queer, Non-Binary Lives, and What If. It takes us over to the next pile. War and Peace. I borrowed that one from my brother about 13 years ago. And as you can see by all of the tabs, it hasn't been started yet. Arkham Horror Book, Wrath of Nakai by Josh Reynolds. Monsters in the Closet, my next Wodehouse book, which I haven't started yet. Patient Zero, love me some zombie books. And then we have the short introduction series here. Scotland, Paganism, Reality, the Devil, Anxiety and Depression. See, I've done all of those, so it's these ones here. This is a tiny little bookshelf hidden in a corner. Tiny little bookshelf here hidden in the corner. What do we have on it? It's a Pocket Change collection. Nuclear Conscience, Beyond the Gender Binary, End by Kaylee Dobbs from Happy Go Horror. Horror, The Gothic, Chaos, Quantum Theory, and Queries, essays on queer theory and fairy tales. So that just leaves the unhauls to do. Last but not least, we have my unhauls. City of Ember. Wasn't really a fan of the second book, so I'm still twittering on whether I read the last two in that one. Let's see what's covered this side. Frankenstein Builds a Boyfriend by Dylan James. That was a good book. These were all good books. I'm mostly culling them just to make space, so that somebody else gets a chance to enjoy them, and I can put the rest of my books away on the shelves because they're full. Two Boys Kissing, Boy Meets Boy, both by David Levithan. I, Lucifer by Glenn Duncan. Mrs. Stephen Fry, How to Have an Almost Perfect Marriage. Mrs. Fry's Diary. Secret Diary of Laura Palmer, which is a Twin Peaks book. The Mermaid's Singing by Val McDermid, 20th Anniversary Edition. Then we have a trilogy of Street Cat Named Bob. Night of the Living Trekkies. It's another zombie book. That was good. Mindset. And then we have the James Lear collection. James Lear collection. How to Kill Your Husband and Other Handy Household Hints by Kathy Lett. Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. Douglas Adams and Mark Carmodine's Last Chance to See. Then I have Call a Midwife. There's 4 books in that series. I can pick them up. Stephen Hawking, Brief Answers to the Big Questions. And Born Lippy, How to Do Female by Joe Brand. So yeah, that was a bookshelf tour, I guess. There's also my physical TBR, or most of it anyway. I think I've got all the books from around the house. But yeah, that's it this time. Click like if you like this video, subscribe if you want to and haven't already, come say hi in the comments, and I'll catch you next time, I guess. Cheers, bye.